Listen, we were discussing a threesome even as recent as yesterday. I know, babes, we're long distance and what we doing this over Zoom. Wow, what's up, rebels? My name's Willie and I'm one half of Leo and Willie. We are engaged. We are queer. And today I am here to discuss mine and Leo's monogamish relationship with monogamy. I'm going to be talking about some of the mistakes we made when we became poly, and honestly, I'm just going to be giving you some honest advice about what not to do, okay? This is going to be a real and open chat, so... Oh, sorry, 1 second. I'm just getting a message from the Rebel headquarters. Oh, over to you.
Good evening, viewer. We hope you enjoyed the following hilarious and/or insightful YouTube video. As you may have heard, the Rebels need more manpower to fight the treacherous battles against the anti-woke forces. We aim to achieve 15,000 Rebel soldiers enlisted by the end of May. Are you ready to fight for your right to be a chaotic queer being? Join the Leo and Willie Rebel Army today by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to always spread the gay agenda. This ad is endorsed by the Rebel Army headquarters.
That's right, if you haven't already, hit like and subscribe because our goal is to get 15k by the end of May. So without further ado, let's get into it! So me and Leo were the poster children of how not to do polyamory. Just to bring us all to the same place, monogamy is having a connection with one person, whilst polyamory is having multiple connections, whether or romantic, with multiple people. Just a tip number one. If you are someone who is contemplating becoming poly, please do the research together, have communication about some ethical rules that all of you can consent to. And now for what not to do. When me and Leo got together, he was quite open about wanting to be poly, and I was quite open about being offended. The day he actually asked me out, like actually asked me to be his girlfriend, 20 minutes later, he asked me if I would be poly, and I was so offended, like, oh, is your back hurting from the 20 minutes of monogamous relationship and you had to do? I had never been poly before, and also I never wanted to. Just to be clear, I had no real research or education around what it meant to be poly. I had no research, never opened a book. I just had a really negative feeling. In my head, it was like cheating with permission, and I made it very clear that was not a bit of me. I definitely feel that Leo was quite pushy with this. He was like, please, let's be, and it was a lot. This wasn't great, but it was back in the days, like we've both grown up. But I will take this as an opportunity to give just a tip number two. If someone says no and you keep pushing for the yes, it's a yes for you, it's not for them. It's like forced consent, which really isn't consent. Time and experience taught us both that. So after Leo asked and asked and asked, this is me calling Leo. But I did eventually give in, but I will also say that someone in my personal life was also becoming very cute to me. So being disgustingly honest, I was like, hey, listen, if I can get to know my crush with no punishment, I'll dabble. And I dibbled and dabbled. I loved the freedom and basically went on a whole tour. For context, I had created an LGBTQ sort of like WhatsApp community space called Pint of Queers, where me and Leo actually met. At its peak, it had like 70 members. It was really cool. In this space, I had a lot of people who had a crush on me or wanted to date me, and I think it fed insecurities that I wasn't aware I had until reflection years later. My ego was being fed, and besties, I ate it up. I had other partners, I was barely home with my primary, and because neither I or Leo had really established boundaries or rules, it was all a chaotic, toxic mess. We fought, keyword, fought. We were practicing hierarchy polyamory, which is like when you have a primary partner, so your base, and then your secondary might be someone who you don't see as much as your primary. That's what we thought we were doing, but we weren't doing any of that. that was not happening. And as aforementioned, both Leo and I were in Pint of Queers, so he would see people openly flirt with me and me openly flirt back because I didn't have the foresight, neither did he, to create a rule that we wouldn't do that in a space that we both had access to. So here I was, the one who did not want to be poly, actively dating, flirting, unfortunately having casual with a lot of Leo's crushes, and having a lot of Leo's crushes actually ask me out, which led to a lot of resentment from Leo towards me. So you have to understand, on my end, Leo is objectively this handsome Greek god, and I believed myself to just be an acquired taste. So to have people reject Leo in favor of me did not make me pause and stop and check in on him and how that made him feel. It was shocking to me, and it made me feel good. It was feeding my ego, but also feeding this internal struggle in that I had to really ask myself of like, why are you so shocked that people like you? And I'll be honest, it's something that I still struggle with today. In our current lives now, I do still get pursued more, and it still does shock me. But that's work that I truly have to do. And that's something that I have to unlearn within myself. And Leo sweetly really tries to assist with that. So it's a lot healthier now. So on that note, here's just a tip number 3. Being poly isn't a race or a competition. Do it because you have a genuine interest and capacity to open up your connection, whether that's romantical or with other people. Don't use it as an excuse to sort of like build up all these people to heal this wound inside of you. It doesn't work that way. It's toxic and unhealthy for everybody involved. Also, if you and your partner aren't really in a good place, that's not a great time to be poly. It's like having a baby to fix a relationship. It doesn't make sense. Don't involve other people. Heal with each other first. And having that strength and that strong foundation will allow you to then ethically and healthily move forward with other people. I wish both I and Leo took some time to really self-reflect as to why we wanted to be poly and whether those reasons were actually healthy. Bringing it back, as I mentioned, Leo began to resent me, and I hadn't noticed because I was like, this is what you wanted. You were asking for it, begging for it. Congrats, it's here. Like I'm sorry that the poly world you forced onto me is not one in which you're killing the dating world, but that's not my fault. It was my fault. It was his too. It was both of our faults. I'll tell you why. We hadn't done the work. We were both so incredibly ignorant. I used being poly as an excuse to have fun and measure my likability, and Leo used being poly as an excuse to measure his worth. So for him, it was like, if I don't get the date, I must be terrible. And for me, it was like, well, I'm getting the date, so I guess I'm awesome. Polyamory was basically saying, hey, Willie, here's a band-aid for your insecurities. And Leo, here's a magnifying glass for yours. Wasn't great. Looking back, I definitely regret some of the choices that I made. I was very insensitive. I was ego-driven. I didn't pay attention to my partner. I didn't send to him in anything, really. And as a result of that, Leo actually cheated on me. And that broke me. It really broke my heart. How do you cheat if you're polyamorous and you have no boundaries? Our only rule was that we wouldn't lie about anything that we were doing for obvious reasons, one being sexual safety. But because Leo had begun to resent me, he began to actively lie and make some choices that one would consider quite toxic. It was a mess. It was a horrible, toxic mess. And I had 2 other partners, and all of this just felt like such a mess. I did communicate this with Leo and say, look, at the very least, we shouldn't be doing stuff in that space, like pint of queer. But at this point, Leo had developed a crush on someone, and I couldn't say no. I'd like banged half the group, do you know what I mean? And so, he went on this date with someone, and unfortunately, after that, I also saw that person, and we had and that really upset Leo, and I think that was his breaking point with me. Just to be clear, we have no rules about talking to the same people. I was actually talking to this person first, and so I hadn't realized that this would really upset him. But I think this was the beginning of him realizing that I'm really starting to resent you now, and this is really making me angry and upset. I love dating. I love connection. I want to take you out on a date. I want to make you laugh. I want to make you melt, and I want you to give me butterflies. I loved all of it. I think I made some choices that, whilst I was allowed to do it, only an ignorant, insecure, selfish prick would have done it. Nobody can clock me like I can clock me. At some point, my mental health just declines. It just plummets and honestly, mine and Leo's unhealthy relationship was a big part of that, and it just really wasn't helping. So at this point, I made a decision, and I decided to break up with my other partners and just focus on myself and Leo. We had a lot of work to do and a lot of pain to undo. We had to do research, we had to do therapy, we had to finally start talking to people, our friends, and getting those anecdotal testimonies that allowed us to feel healthier and lighter. We literally felt so light after these conversations that we were ready for just a tip number 4. When something isn't working, change it. In our case, we went back to being monog, but in your case, it could be that you're polysaturated, which basically is like burnout from being pulled in so many different directions. And as a result, you may want to pause your dating or unfortunately break up with a partner or two just to allow you to feel better within yourself. So yeah, it didn't work and we had to change it. Have those conversations and be really transparent about where you actually are. If not with everyone else, at least with yourself. Start there first. Also, regardless of whether you're practicing hierarchy, polyamory or not, just because you have a primary partner doesn't mean they're the only one who deserves primary respect. Everybody who's connected to this, your secondary, everybody else that you might just be dating casually, they deserve communication, they deserve respect, and they deserve romantic maturity. The problem is, myself and Leo, we were incredibly immature. So where are we now? Well, Leo has come to the conclusion for himself, and this hasn't changed in years, that he's absolutely not poly. He doesn't enjoy that at all. Even if I became poly, which is something we have discussed in the past, he would still be monogamous for me. He is very much a one-woman man, and that's something that he prefers to be. For me, I absolutely believe I have the ability to connect and love others. I'm very honest with Leo about that. I've told Leo that I have feelings for one of my best friends, and we discussed that so openly and so freely, you know, as recent as yesterday of, hey, by the way, I really do feel this. And that's part of our engagement. That's part of our communication style, that we will never, ever, ever allow ourselves to go to a place where we, as individuals, grow resentment and stop communicating. We communicate everything, point blank, period. At this point in my life, my priority is me and Leo. Nobody has and nobody will ever come close to how much I love that man. He is truly my soulmate. We've done so much maturing together, so much life together, and he has this like special place in my heart that nobody has ever got close to, and I will never, ever, ever let anybody else get close to. So in that sense, I will never, ever have another romantic partner. Now, intimacy, slightly different. We both enjoy having fun together. We absolutely go through our threesome eras. Listen, we were discussing a threesome even as recent as yesterday. I know, babes, we're long distance and what we doing this over Zoom. Overall, I will say I think I was super surprised to learn just how many queer people were polyamorous. And I feel like because so many people were, and there was a lot of pressure there from Leo and the space that I was in, I feel like I just did this thing that everybody wanted me to do. And doing it then, it just wasn't healthy for me. It wasn't healthy for Leo either. And of course now with like time and experience, we probably could boss being poly in a much better way, especially now that we've gone through therapy, and I just think communication-wise we're so much more stronger. But I think whilst Leo has been so clear in his boundaries, me trying to push that would be reenacting the same pressure that I felt, and I don't subscribe to that. That's not cool. It's not worth it, and it's also not even what I want. I'm truly happy with my man. I love him. Whilst most of our friends are poly, we enjoy being monogamish, exploring together and loving and growing together as our main priority. I would definitely say I've learned so much from my mistakes and, you know, finally opening up a book, listening to some podcasts. Actually, one of my friends, Trisha, has a podcast about being poly that I listened to back in the days, and if I can find it, I will link it because it was actually really cool and accessible and I really enjoyed it. I don't know why I listened to it so late, like, oh, you can be monogamous now, you know, you're gonna listen to poly stuff. Great. But that was basically mine and Leo's experiences. We like to have fun together now, and our history with being poly just wasn't healthy or good. And whilst Leo was the one who first pioneered for it and I was the one who initially rejected, as time went on, I'm the one who is more closer to definitely being poly, and Leo's absolutely not a poly person at all. He's very monogamous. And I love that. I love him. It's great. So what are your thoughts, besties? Are you poly? Are you monog, or none of the above? What are the advice that you would give to someone who's thinking about opening up their relationship? For me, communication, okay? Do it for the right reasons. Yes, there is ego sometimes that's going to be involved. I'm painfully admitting that to you all because I kind of just don't care. I'm in a different place, and I think it's really cool to just be like, yeah, I was insecure and I love the attention. That was my truth. As well as that, people were hot. But yeah, let me and the Rebels know your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe to join the Rebel Army, the only army we endorse. Alright, drink water, eat carrots. I love you guys so much, and maybe me and Leo will see you in the next video. Goodbye. Leo opened up our pearly doors, then I went too far and I became a whore. But now we're monogamous, it's gonna be a free. So if you're interested, go ahead and email me. I'm joking.